Note, if you don't agree with what's in the video, that's why it's called a theory. Theories are not facts, just like how we hear all drains lead to the ocean, that quote. My quote is, theories are not facts. So, also just one more thing. I love you guys so much that I had to remake this 2-day video that it like took 2 days to make, and I just want to show you my reaction when I found out that the file somehow got deleted. Welcome back, Pride. So when I finished the Fallout Timeline episode, I was stuck with all sorts of 1950s music and remembered the one at the beginning of WALL-E, you know, the one that's like da 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 da, yeah. And for some reason I was like thinking of the Fallout music and how like similar it was, and I guess just because it had the name Fallout, I was just thinking, and for some reason I then realized something between these two. And it's not that Fallout is in the same universe, I'm just like using the idea. I found a lot of similarities between WALL-E and Fallout in terms of what happened in WALL-E. Like, why is the world trash after we left it? Because it wouldn't make any sense for us to just leave because we're lazy. It would probably make more sense if we had a purpose for leaving. And also, when you think about it, the axioms would never have enough to fit the whole world, supposedly. And about the whole world, why do we have to believe, by and large, for owning the whole world? What is the evidence besides us just seeing it on TV? Just because we see it doesn't mean that it's true. Many corporations have lied before in the past about claims. Like, for example, the CEO of Pepsi claims that eating Doritos is healthy, which we all know that is not. There's like a billion things that cause cancer in that, and if you're eating them right now and you just spit it out, chill out. I'm pretty sure you'll be fine if you eat it like once in a while. But the point is that the CEO lied. That just proves that by and large does not own the world. Maybe it's the only company in the US because it like is the star in every single type of thing, insurance, you know, blah 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 blah. It's kind of like a Samsung type of company, except it's dominating everything. And I just always wondered, where is everyone else? Shouldn't there be survivors? What if they're just in Fallouts? And because of all of this thinking about what happened in WALL-E, I began to think of a more broad area of what happened entirely in the Pixar universe. And out of that, I created the Pixar Fallout theory. And don't take it literal. And this is basically a spin-off that retaliates against some claims that the Pixar theory has, or just modifies some of the Pixar theory ideas, or even builds on them. So instead of it being mostly attacking the Pixar theory, it's actually adding on to it to help it out. Yeah, Super Callum Brothers, you should have given us more evidence. So let's go ahead and try and answer some of these unanswered things in the Pixar theory. First off, we have to talk about animals and how they do things that animals that we have don't. Like, for example, in Finding Nemo and Dory, we don't see in real life fish doing these extreme things, and that's probably not because of magic. Probably. It's probably just because clearly Pixar's world is in another dimension. So in this dimension, all fish and animals are evolving. Now clearly they don't talk, or at least not for now, but they do think more. They do things that you know, are clearly not supposed to happen. Now for toys, that's a little bit different, because toys clearly don't evolve because they're not life forms. They can clearly interact with people. When they talk, they're actually talking. Well, once again, there are two reasons. One is because of magic, or two, it's going on in Andy's mind. You know, he's thinking, well, what if they did this or that, you know? Because we see these cutscenes of what happens. So what if this is just his imagination. But wait, that doesn't make any sense because in like Toy Story 3 there's like so many things. Yeah. Another dimension. No, it's magic. So clearly Boo, or if some of you don't believe that, it's Boo, the witch, is basically the god of this world or even this universe in Pixar because she can do anything. She can control everything basically. So you could say that she's mother of nature in a way, but not really. Just can do magical things. So that explains that. Now, I'm also gonna do the Pixar Fallout timeline because if I said this next part, it would basically just like give no purpose for me to give a timeline later. Yeah, let's just do it. So let's go ahead and start off with the good dinosaur, where just the good dinosaur, and then everyone dies. Then we go centuries later to Brave, where we see magic introduced with Mama Bear, and we see Boo, we see the goddess basically. Then we go to the first part of The Incredibles, where we see these supers which come out of nowhere. And it's strange because we never really know where they come from, how they get their powers. Yeah, there's basically just two things I can think of. Somehow radiation, or it's magic, or the dimension. And also during the beginning of The Incredibles, probably 10 years before The Incredibles, we see the beginning of Up with, Charles, and then I don't think that we need to continue on what happens, because I honestly, emotionally do not like Up. I don't like talking about it that much, so I'm not gonna say what happened. So now we go to Toy Story, where we see magic interact with inanimate objects, and then Toy Story 2 happens, so moving on. So then we see Finding Nemo, where we see fish evolve due to, once again, it's up to you. It can be radiation waste because people dump things in the ocean, so that could have evolved their minds. It's because it's in a different dimension, or it can be magic. And personally, I'm probably gonna go with the idea of the radiation waste because we see it so much in film. I feel like they're trying to tell us something, like it's trying to give like a positive message, like in WALL-E about garbage and stuff and, recycling. Finding Dory happens like 1 year later in the timeline, so yeah, the same thing. So then we go to Ratatouille, where we see animals beginning to do human things and even do above what humans can do, which just shows how powerful they are in their own. So then we go to Up. Yeah, the dogs, they can't talk yet, but collars and fitness and blah 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 blah. So just gonna skip by The Incredibles because that's basically the same, besides AI though. I don't want to touch the Pixar theory too much. So then we enter one of the most realistic films from Pixar, one that is basically something that could happen in real life in a way, besides the obvious fiction part of it, and that is Inside Out, where we see that emotions play a big part in this film, and it shows that the emotions have always been inside all of these characters, according to the trailer, even WALL-E, which is strange, which begs to differ. Let's stop the timeline and say, what if the thing that's making all of the animals evolve, all of the toys evolve, and everything else evolve is because of emotions? Because in this dimension, emotions can grow and expand and change the way that the animals and everything thinks and evolve them. So anyways, that's just something for you to think about. We enter a very censored time because we have no idea what happens in this time, and I'm assuming there was some sort of conflict between the world and there was nuclear blahs, blah 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 blah. And because of this, the US government and BNL are like, alright, we need to get as many people as we can out of here, only the intelligent people, because that's what they did in the past. They got different fallouts and stuff and said, alright, so doctors, anyone that can help to rebuild the world in the future was put on to these lists. So that's what I'm assuming all of the people on BNL are, and the only reason that they're like basically robot customers just getting stuff for free is because they want to make people forget about the bad stuff. That's why there's a lot of lying from the government in the 50s when there was problems, with fear of nuclear war. And actually, to bring Vault Boy in randomly, that's why he was created, and that's why he's so famous in the Fallout franchise, because he's always smiling even if bad things happen, and that's the mentality that America wants you to think, that everything is okay, there are no problems, and we're lying to you for your own sanity, basically. So over those years, people began to forget and not tell the next generation, basically. Or they were told not to tell the next generation. So that's probably why the world in WALL-E looks so, radioactive, just so weird. And because it's radioactive, weird things happen. We know weird things happen. So people begin to form into these cuddly, friendly, almost friendly, monsters. And they speak English, they have human things, they rebuilt the world, and just like what happened, they stopped telling the next generation so they could forget and society can continue. And somehow Cars appeared. And this is where we need to kill the Pixar theory and add a little, but I'm pretty sure that this is not Cars is radioactive with humans. No, this is clearly another dimension. Yeah, that's how we're gonna leave it, that the Pixar dimension and the Cars dimension are different. Clearly, there is no way. Somehow, Cars are AI. I think that's what the Pixar theory says, but if that is the case, that is not true at all. The cars and the planes and whatever, they are not part of the same world that we see in WALL-E and all the other movies. This is a separate world, and everyone hates it, basically. That's why Cars 3 might bomb, even though I kind of like Cars, the entire franchise. Yeah, in conclusion, nukes, emotions, radiation, dimension, magic. All sorts of things that put this world that actually does make sense. So in reality is all about how you feel and who do you listen to, because eventually people rebelled against BNL and BNL just died right there just because they got their own opinion. And I think that the true meaning behind WALL-E is not just about keeping the environment clean, but it's also about not being a follower. Just do what you believe is right to this world. Why should you listen to these big YouTube channels when you should just listen to yourself? And of course, support other people, because, giving hate to this world doesn't really help at all. So I think adding emotions back into what I was saying earlier, the thing that makes toys come to life and makes everything work in the Pixar world is love. And as always,
thanks for watching.
Wish on the moon and look for the gold in a rainbow, and you'll find happy.
Coming up next episode, money on YouTube.